Hello, grade 6 students. This is day 24 of STP Mathematics 1A lesson. Now, you have completed your term 1, and from January onwards, you will be having your term 2 content. So, then the term 2 content, the first topic you want to do the directed numbers. First of all, what you want to do, children, you take your theory books. Hope all of you can remember that how we kept the notebook and the exercise book. Take the notebook or the theory book, put the date and write down the main topic in pink color, directed numbers, right? When you hear the word directed, it shows us something, the direction, right? And if you can remember, so then the number line, so this is the number line. We have here 0, right? Let's say we have 0 here. And to this side, in equal distance, you have the positive numbers like this. You have positive numbers. To this direction, you have negative numbers, right? I will show you a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And to this side, you have -1, -2, -3, and -4, like this. And you know the value is increasing to this side, right? The value is increasing to this side, right? Value increasing. Now you just tell me, children, that when I want to compare two numbers, if I take 4 and 5, definitely you know 5 is bigger, no doubt, right? If you take, let's say, 3 and 2, we know 3 is bigger, right? We open the mouth to the, or that it's this kind of a crocodile mouth, so then it opens the mouth to the larger number, right? But if I give you -4 and -5, you just see that if I mark -5 also here on this number line, which is closer to 0, it is -4. When you compare 4 and 5, 5 is bigger. That is for the positive numbers. But when you compare -4 and -5, -4 is bigger. The same way I take -3 and -2. When you compare +3 and 2, +3 is bigger. But when you compare -3 and -2, -2 is bigger. Right? If I elaborate this more, what you want to understand, if you have the positive numbers, right? I will write it, type it here, that if you have the positive numbers, right? Positive numbers. So then let's say we have two positive numbers. So then the number which is far away from 0 will be the higher value, right? So will be the higher value, which is far away from 0, right? Far away from 0. So that will be the higher value. So then if you have the negative value, right? The negative numbers, how do you check the bigger one? The number that is closer to 0 will be the higher digit. Let's say you have a positive number and a negative number and a negative number. Then what happens? Definitely the positive number will be bigger, right? So it's obvious. So then the positive number will be higher, right? So you just look at this, right? The positive number will become the higher value. The positive number will become the higher value. So these are the things you should know. So I'll make it smaller, right? If you take the number line, children, when you are drawing the number line, please draw it nicely using the ruler and always keep the distance, the same distance when you are moving from one number to another number. And let's say you have two positive numbers. Whatever the number far away from 0, right, to the right side, so then that will be the higher value. If you are comparing two negative numbers, the number which is closer to 0, again that which is in the right side will be the higher digit, right, or the higher value, right, higher digit or the higher value. Right? So then if you have a positive and a negative number, you don't want to think that no doubt positive number will be the higher one, right? So these things you should know. So you can pause the video and copy down these. And now I am moving to that you can't expect this number line horizontally always. If you look at the thermometer, right? So then where your parents and the nurses in the hospital, they use to check your body temperature, or in the laboratories we use it to measure the temperature of different things. So in that case we do have something like this, that it can be to this side too. In that case you have 0 here, right, and to this side 1, 2, 3, right, and to this side -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3, and -1, -2, -3, -4, like this. Again, you should understand the value is increasing to this side, right? Value is increasing to this side. This is also the same thing. Value is increasing to this side, right? Now you just see, children, if you look at that, this is the sea level, right? This is the sea level, let's say. Something above the sea level, right, that we explain it with a positive number, right? We explain this in the positive value. And if you have that something below the sea level, that we explain this in negative form, right? We explain that in negative form. Or else, let's say we have the freezing point, right? Freezing point, that is 0 Celsius, right? The freezing point, right? Freezing point, or else the 0 Celsius degrees. And something above that we call, it is positive, right? It is positive, positive temperatures. And something below this value, we call that the negative temperatures, right? In different situations, we use these in different ways, children. Okay? We use this in different ways. So these are the things basically you should know when it comes to the directed numbers. First of all, you want to understand when we are talking about a directed numbers, that we are talking about something with the direction to the positive side or to the negative side. And I drew the number line. In the number line, in the middle we have 0, and to the right side we have the positive numbers, and to the left side we have negative numbers. If you can see the number line on horizontal mode, but you can't accept it as always as the horizontal version. There can be vertical versions too. In that case, something which you can see top of 0 will be positive, and bottom of 0, that will be negative values, right? And if you want to compare the two numbers, let's say you have two positive numbers, the number which is far away from 0, that will be the higher value, right? Higher value. So then the number which is that the closer to 0 will be the lower value. I don't know why that it is not visible. I will keep it like this for a moment, then you can complete your note. And then if let's say that you have negative numbers, in that case, something which is closer to 0 will be the higher value, right? And if you compare a positive number or a negative number, definitely the positive number will be the higher value, right? Hope it is clear. Now we will move to the textbook. So the textbook, it says, you can see that a number, you can write down this part also, a number without any symbol in front of its positive that means it is a positive number. If you just write 2, that means positive 2. If you have positive 3, you can write it as just 3 also, right? Now here they have given you a few scenarios. Draw a centigrade thermometer and mark a scale on it from negative 10 to positive 10. What you are supposed to do, children, you want to draw the this thing, right? So then here, yeah, so I have to go for the vertical one, right? I have to go for the vertical one. So then what I do, I draw this one, and you want to do it nicely. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you want to complete up to 10. This is 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. You want to complete, because here they have given instruction. You want to get it from -10 to +10. No? Use your drawing to write the following temperature as positive or negative. Something above the freezing point, what it is? It is positive 10 Celsius. Something 7, that below the freezing point, it is -7 Celsius, right? 3 below 0, it is -3. So 3 Celsius. And 5 above 0, positive 5 Celsius. Or you can just write this as 5 Celsius, children, because we learned that if you have that just 5, that is positive 5. If you have positive 5, you can write it as just 5. And below 0, that is -8 Celsius. Freezing point, it is 0 Celsius. Right? You can write down these in your theory book, even though they have given it as an exercise. You can write this in your theory book. Okay. So then we will move to the next one. I hope all of you have an idea by now that what they are talking about, these directed numbers. Then you want to write down these values in words. If it is -2, how do you write it, children? You just write 2 Celsius below 0, right? That you have, if you have -2, what are the 2 ways you can write it? That we have 2 methods to write this. You can write 2 Celsius below 0, or you can write it in another way, 2 Celsius below the freezing point, Right? 2 Celsius below the freezing point. Okay. Let's say you have the next number they have given, +3. No? How do you write this? +3 Celsius. Again, you can write this in 2 ways. Either you can write 3 Celsius above 0, right? Through 3 Celsius above 0. Or another version, you can write 3 Celsius above the freezing point. Above the freezing point. Above the freezing point. Okay, so then this is how you want to write this. Then I don't want to explain the rest of the question up to 12. And the 0, you can write, either you can write the freezing point, right? So then here, freezing point, right? Anything positive, you write above the freezing point or above 0. Anything you have negative, you write below the freezing point or below 0, right? Then what you want to do, children, we want to do question number 13 onwards. You want to compare and you want to tell me which is higher. Now I gave you the theory. Can you remember the theory? When you compare two numbers, what I ask you to do? Can you remember? Here I wrote and gave you a nice definition. So then if you have two positive numbers, whichever the number far away from 0 will be the higher value. If you are comparing two negative numbers, whichever the number closer to 0 will be the higher value. If you are comparing a positive number and a negative number, always the positive number will be the higher value, right? With that mind or with that knowledge, now you just come 8 and 10. 10, it is far away from 0. So then 10 will be higher. So then negative 2 and negative 5, which is closer to 0, this is closer to 0. I'm just round the higher value to show you. When you get 12 and 3, so you know that even though they have not mentioned the positive 12 and positive 3, these are positive 12 and positive 3. When you compare two positive numbers, whatever the number which is far away from 0 will be the higher value. When you compare the two negative numbers, negative 7 and negative 10, which is closer to 0, will be the higher value, right? If you compare a positive and a negative number, we don't need to think that for sure positive number will be the higher value, right? So then if you can understand up to this, so then you are done with this topic a lot, because that this is the basic, right? If you can understand what I'm telling here, so then the rest of the lesson will be very easy, right? So then tomorrow or the next video, we will discuss that what kind of that, how we can extend the number line and how we can see that what is bigger and what is smaller, right? So then we will discuss these things. So then you can complete that, go through the video, and then whenever you want to have a note, you pause the video, complete the note, and tomorrow we will, or the next video, we will start, and we'll start from extending the number line portion. Okay, children, so then we'll meet again next day. Till then, stay safe. So we'll please keep in touch. So complete this note and be ready for the next part. Okay, see you.